I saw a story a while back about a GOP congressman who was retiring. I can't remember which one. And I thought, ooh, that's bad news, right? 2020 is coming. And with Trump's base coming out, many people believe the GOP is going to take back the House. However, if too many Republicans retire, it is bad news for Republicans. They may still win because people are going to, check the R box. They're not going to care what the name is. However, this does leave an opening for Democrats to take over and claim more space in the House. At first, the story didn't faze me too much. But now we have, 15 retirements? I can say this, at least in my opinion. Trump is transforming the Republican Party. People who are, in the Republican Party for a long time are leaving. And they're going to be replaced, in my opinion, by younger, more, boisterous and passionate members of Congress. Trump changed a lot of things. And so did Bernie Sanders, even though the DNC maintained their stranglehold. But this is bad news. It is bad news for Republicans. But in the end, if they win, it will be transformational and good for Republicans to get rid of the old and bring in the new. I'm not a big fan of incumbents. I even cheered for Ocasio-Cortez when she outed that 10-term, establishment crony. Although I think she's still really bad. She's proven herself, in my opinion, to be bad. I gave her a chance. Let's read the story and see what's going on with this wave of GOP retirements. And people on the left are saying this is proof the Republicans are falling apart. Or perhaps the party is reforming as the party of Trump, which is why you see the lion or whatever instead of, the elephant. Let's read. The Hill reports a wave of House GOP retirements that accelerated during the August recess is creating fresh headaches for party leaders and suggesting Republicans see little chance of winning back the chamber in 2020. We'll see. So far, 15 Republicans have announced this cycle that they are retiring, resigning, or running for other offices, including 8 since the summer recess began in late July. A handful of those departing, such as Rep. Will Hurd in Texas, would have faced tough re-elections in competitive districts. But the vast majority occupy safe, conservative seats, a sign that these lawmakers may be fatigued from the chaotic Trump era and have no desire to wander in the political wilderness for another 2 years or longer after losing the House in 2018. I gotta say, I can't blame them. I don't necessarily blame Trump. It's the culture war. It's escalating to this point. You can look back to Gamergate, and there's still people very much obsessed with these personalities that I think are irrelevant, but it's escalated. This culture war has expanded, and people talk about getting woke or getting red-pilled. It's not so much about someone finally waking up and realizing what's happening. It's about the ideology spreading and infecting other areas of our society, and it's going to reach a boiling point. Now we're seeing, potentially, people saying, I don't want to play anymore. I don't. And I know a lot of YouTubers who have tried or just straight up left because it's getting nuts. You better be ready because I don't know where we're headed. Let's read. The most likely outcome is a status quo election for the House, and that certainly influences people's decision to retire when they think they can regain the majority, whether they think that they can regain the majority or not, said former Rep. Carlos Curbelo of Florida. One of 24 Republicans swept out of office during the anti-Trump wave election that handed Democrats control of the House last fall. For sure, some of those members who retired, staying in the minority, was a factor in their thinking. Former Rep. Tom Davis of Virginia said the notion of remaining in the minority is one factor driving the wave of GOP retirements, but it's hardly the only one. Now listen, if you're going to retire because you're in the minority, well, that is a sign of weakness. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. Yes, the Democrats were in the minority, and they fought through it and won the House. Good for them. Good for them. If you're a Republican now and you're like, I don't really like being the minority, oh, come on. This is how politics works. You don't always control the chamber. It goes back and forth. Grow up. Now, admittedly, they're saying it's not the only factor, so let's read on. But now, for the standard, before we move on, go to timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There's a PayPal option, a crypto option, a physical address. But the best thing you can do, just share this video. Help overcome the hurdles YouTube throws my way because they derank independent political commentary. You know the whole thing. Let's read on. The GOP base has shifted, he said, creating new power centers that are forcing once comfortable lawmakers to have to hustle a little bit. Yup. Are they saying that they thought they were going to have a cushy job with free healthcare? You get elected, you do nothing, you get six figures, and you sit around smoking cigars? Oh, I'm sorry. Is work hard? This is probably good news. Look, man, I don't care what your political party is. I don't care about tribe. But if we've got people in office who thought it was going to be a cushy, do-nothing job, and now they're like, man, this is hard work, I'm going to leave, good. Good riddance. Let's bring in the young, aggressive, and passionate people who want to see change in this country and are going to be different from the crony establishment. Now, I think one of the guys who got elected was like a new Trump figure, so don't get me wrong. I think there are a lot of people who believe you get elected to Congress, then you retire, and you get all those sweet benefits for the rest of your life. And that could be another thing driving it. Hey, why should I bother with this? I got a cushy private sector job lined up. Later. Or are there going to be new people who step up and say, I believe in the fight and I want to do right? Regardless of whether or not it's Trump or anyone else, will you stand up for what you believe in? He also pointed to the simple question of finances, as members of Congress have not received a pay increase in more than a decade. But perhaps the most significant factor, Davis said, are the changing electoral patterns brought on by the rise of the populist movement that propelled Trump to the White House, an environment that is hardly unique to the U.S. The overall atmosphere in Washington is not very pleasant, said Davis, who previously led the House's GOP campaign arm. This is a global phenomenon caused by the rapidity of change, the instant communications, the rising expectations of those people who are unhappy with the change, who don't see government helping fast enough, and who feel their status threatened. Yeah, actually, as like a moderate, I think the left has just sped off full speed into the wilderness and they're driving everyone off a cliff. There are a lot of conservatives who are saying you're pulling too fast. They're not necessarily wrong. Progress happens. The left moves left and it drags everyone along with it. The left now has just hopped in a car and just took off. And the moderates and the conservatives are like, where'd you go? Like, what are you doing? You've lost it. So it's not so much about not wanting to change. It's about, yes, the rapidity of change and how crazy the other side is getting. I guess people don't want to be involved in that fight. Whatever the cause, retirements are piling up quickly. This week, GOP reps Bill Flores and Jim Sensenbrenner said they won't seek another term in 2020. That's Texas and Wisconsin, respectively. They joined 6 other Republicans to announce over the summer recess that they're either retiring or resigning. Reps Hurd, Kenny Marchant, Sean Duffy, John Shimkus, as well as former Natural Resource Committee Chairman Bob Bishop and former Agricultural Committee Chairman Mike Conaway. Democrats have mocked the 5 GOP retirements from the Lone Star State as the Texodus. Yeah, Texas is turning blue. What are you going to do about it? All told, 15 Republicans have already announced plans to give up their seats, compared to 4 Democrats. And as the retirement list has grown this summer, GOP lawmakers and aides are anxiously asking one another who might be next to go. Among the names being floated around Washington are veteran establishment Republicans such as Reps Fred Upton, Steve Chabot, Mac Thornberry, Greg Walden, all former committee chairmen, as well as rank-and-file members such as Reps Adam Kinzinger and Ken Buck. The retirements are unnerving, said Bill Miller, a GOP lobbyist and consultant in Austin. The reality is that life in the minority is just not as appealing. But at the same time, in some of these cases, there is a little bit of fear of losing built into the decision not to run again. Democrats are hardly immune to the trend, and retirements don't necessarily mean losing the seats. I want to make one thing, one important point. I've looked at this poll. It shows that in 2018, Trump's voters didn't come out. The people who voted for Trump are not traditional Republicans. They voted for Trump because they wanted Trump. They didn't vote in the midterms. However, they expect these people will come out in 2020 to support Trump, and they're going to check R all the way down. So yes, the Democrats reclaimed the House in 2018, but there is a large, I'll put it this way, a lot of people think, based on the Trump effect, Republicans are going to take the House back. So if these people would just stick to their guns and stand up and fight, they might actually win. But I think no matter what, maybe the retirement is the right thing to do. Step aside and let someone else step up and take the fight, someone who believes in it and is passionate. And if you're not up for it, good, get out of the way. Either help or get out of the way. And it goes for the Democrats too. I'm not saying this to be left or right. It's plain and simple, man. There's a culture war going on. Pick your side and fight for it. Okay? Well, I don't want to say it like that, but if you have a side, if there's something you believe in, and you're just going to turn around and walk away because you're scared of losing, I don't have any respect for that. But I'll admit, getting out of the way is probably the best thing. They say heading into the 2012 elections, the party roles were reversed. Democrats had the White House, but Republicans held the speaker's gavel, and all signs pointed to them keeping it. During that cycle, 22 Democrats retired or sought a different office. But Republicans picked up only 5 of those seats, and GOP operatives are hoping to have similar success next year defending the open spots. I think you get the point. Let's read the conclusion, because I do try to keep these short. They say, GOP leaders are pressing their members to raise money for the House, GOP campaign operations and stump for candidates around the country, translating to more time away from home. It takes a lot of work to get back to the majority, Ross told The Hill. If they can't be everything the team wants them to be, then they start thinking maybe it's time for someone else to do it. It's not bad for the process to get fresh new people and fresh ideas in there, he added. And I think that is the final takeaway. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen and let someone else step up who might be able to. Well, we'll see how this plays out. This might really transform the Republicans and bring about a true party of Trump. The new people who come in to run Republican, they're probably going to be on board with Trump, at least a little bit, at least more than the establishment. So I'll leave it there. Stick around. I got one more segment coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.